All right, so let's finish up example 3 and 4. Example 3, writing an equation of a linear function given 2 points. So the sum of the angles s degrees in a polygon is a linear function of the number sides n of the polygon. The sum of the angles in a triangle is 180. The sum of the angles in a quadrilateral is 360. So the number of sides is our independent variable. The sum of the sides depends on how many sides we have. So for a triangle, we have the number of sides, which is 3, and the sum of the sides, which is 180. For a quadrilateral, we have the number of sides 3 and the sum of the sides, which is 360. So what we want to do is come up with an equation. So the first thing we need to do is we do need to use the slope formula. So the slope formula says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if you need to, label your points x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 360 minus y1, which is 180, divide by x2, which is 4, minus y1, which is 3. So that is, my slope is 360 minus 180, which is 180, and 4 minus 3, which is 1. Perfect. Now we're going to use our slope point form. So remember, our slope point form says y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So I have a point, so we can use y1 and x1. So let's do 180 minus 180 times x minus 3. Write a linear equation to represent the function. There we go. That is a linear equation to represent the function. I can also put it into slope-intercept form if I wanted. So that would look like, I'm going to multiply that in. And I'm going to add 180 to both sides. So y is equal to 180x minus 360. So either are appropriate, whichever you want to do. So this is A. And then B, write the equation to determine the sum of the angles in a dodecan. This is an angle. This is a polygon with 12 sides. Okay. So all I need to do is replace x with 12 because x is representing the number of sides. So y is equal to 180 times 12 minus 360. And that gives me 1800 degrees. There we go. That's B. Let's do 2 as well. A temperature in degrees Celsius is a linear function of the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. F. The boiling point of water, is 100 degrees Celsius and 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are going to split it up into degrees Celsius. So this is 100 degrees Celsius. Oh, you know what? I don't need units here. Let's do 100 and 212. So this is for water. And boiling, water, freezing. So the freezing point of water is 0 and 32. All right, so let's use my slope formula again. Remember, it's y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So x1, y1, x1, y1. Sorry, x2, y2. So 32 minus 212 divided by 0 minus 100. Minus 180 over negative 100. So that gives me a positive 9 over 5. Awesome. All right, so now I have y minus 212 is equal to my slope, which is 9 over 5 times x minus 100. So there is a linear equation to represent the function. Let's multiply it in and get it into slope-intercept form again. So that's y minus 212 is equal to 9/5 x minus 180. Okay, then we're going to add 212 to both sides. So that gives me 9 over 5x plus 32. There we go. And then for B, we use the equation to determine the temperature in degrees Celsius at which iron melts. So 279 degrees Fahrenheit. So the degrees Fahrenheit is our y value. So that means that we would have to replace y. Here, I'm just going to bring it down here. Y with 275 because this is my degrees Fahrenheit here. For my y values is equal to 9 over 5 times x plus 32, and x being our degrees Celsius. So I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. That gives me 243. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 9 over 5. And that gives me 135 is equal to x. So iron melts at 135 degrees Celsius. Whoops. All right, example 4. Write an equation of a line that is parallel or perpendicular to a given line. Write an equation for the line that passes through R1 and -1 and is parallel to the line y equals 2/3 x minus 5. So let's just set that off there. So if it's parallel, that means that the slope is the same. Okay, so the slope of my new line is still going to be 2/3, and I was given a point, so 1 and -1. So that means I use my slope point form, which says y minus a -1 is equal to 2/5 times x minus 1. All right, so let's simplify. So y minus -1 is y plus 1 is equal to 2/5 times x minus 1. There we go. So this is an equation of a line, so this is good enough. Oops. And for B, let's see if we can squeeze B in there. I'll maybe use a different color. Perpendicular to the line 2/3. So if it's perpendicular, that means that the slope is the negative reciprocal. So that means I take the bottom number, put it on the top, and take the top number, put it on the bottom, and take the negative. So that becomes -3/2. So I still have the same point. So it's y minus -1 is equal to my slope, which is -3/2 times x minus 1. So again, just to simplify, that becomes y plus 1, -3/2, x minus 1. There we go. And I'm going to get you to do question 2 by yourself. It's just like question 1 from example 4.